Ukrainian Defense Forces defeated a Russian assault armored group heading toward the village of Torske in the Donetsk region. According to the 63rd Mechanized Brigade, the Russian invaders failed to even reach the forward positions of the Ukrainian troops. The invaders tried to take our positions again, but did not even reach their destination, the military said. The Russian command had deployed a convoy led by 3 IFVs and a tank for the assault. However, Ukrainian artillery quickly engaged the convoy, striking one of the IFVs. The brigade noted that the hit was delivered by a self-propelled artillery system from a range exceeding 10 kilometers. Then, FPV attack drones were sent against the invaders. They began targeting the armored vehicles and finishing them off. The Ukrainian military deployed a tank that opened direct fire on the Russian forces. After the battle, the Russian infantry attempted to retreat on foot, but Ukrainian drones targeted and eliminated them. The Russian invaders felt the full fury of the 63rd Brigade artillery systems. Tanks and attack drones dismantled them into molecules. Our infantry did not even have to engage in combat, the military said. The Ukrainian General Staff said that today in the Lyman sector, the Russian army launched 4 attacks on Ukrainian positions near Hrikivka, Novoyahorivka, and Torske. Previously, in this area, an electronic warfare system saved a tank of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade from an FPV drone attack. Ukrainian forces are under relentless assault in 2 critical sectors of Russia's 33-month wider war on Ukraine. In western Russia's Kursk Oblast, currently the locus of the fighting, around 20,000 Ukrainian troops are struggling to hold back at least 50,000 Russians, as well as thousands of North Koreans. In southern Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine, a few battalions of exhausted Ukrainian regulars, each with no more than 400 soldiers, are desperately trying to avoid encirclement by a division of Russian motor rifle troops. The balance of forces in this sector might be 5-1 in favor of the Russians. But in Kupiansk, a frontline city in Kharkiv Oblast in northeastern Ukraine, it's the Ukrainians who may have the momentum. The Khortytsia Operational Strategic Group, which oversees the approximately 10 Ukrainian brigades in and around Kupiansk, claimed its troops pushed back Russian infiltrators on Tuesday. Advancing under the cover of intensive bombardment, Russian assault groups apparently from the 25th Motor Rifle Brigade entered the city of 27,000 2 weeks ago. But attacking is always more resource-intensive than defending, and whatever advantages in people and equipment the Russians had in the area weren't enough to cement their gains in Kupiansk. In what may be best described as a desperate Hail Mary, Russian troops attempted to flank Kupiansk's defenders by crossing the Oskol River in boats. The Ukrainians defeated this maneuver too. It helps that the Khortytsia OSG still includes 1 experienced brigade that hasn't been dismantled by Russian attacks or split up and dispersed by Ukrainian commanders desperate to reinforce Kursk and Donetsk. The 14th Mechanized Brigade is one of the more skilled units of the Ukrainian ground forces, explained Military Land, a collective that tracks changes to the Ukrainian force structure. The brigade rides in an eclectic mix of armored vehicles, including modern Ukrainian-made T-84 Oplat tanks, and even newer captured Russian T-72B3s. Tanks from the Ukrainian 4th National Guard Brigade, possibly up-armored 1970s vintage T-72Bs, have also been active along the Kupiansk axis. In one recent video circulated by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, one of the Guard tanks engaged entrenched Russian troops at point-blank range, firing steadily with its 125mm cannon as it slowly rolled away from the trench, its crew clearly counting on constant movement to complicate any return fire. The liberation of Kupiansk is rare good news for Kiev's outnumbered and outgunned army as the winter sets in, and U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's January inauguration looms. Trump has vowed to end the war in Ukraine. His proposal to freeze the front line in place would cede to Russia more than 10% of Ukrainian territory. The Russians aren't giving up on Kupiansk. If they can't fully capture the city, they might settle for consolidating their positions along the Oskil River, which threads through Kupiansk and largely defines the front line in the area. Russian forces have intensified attacks using artillery, rocket launchers, and glide bombs, the Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies reported. According to CDS, the Russians' goal is to force the civilian population to evacuate from villages on the eastern bank of the Oskil River. Ukraine faces mounting challenges as winter approaches, with ongoing worries about the reliability of electricity amid escalating Russian strikes. The potential shift in U.S. support after President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January adds to the uncertainty. The Ukrainian military continues to grapple with personnel shortages on the front line, while Russia's steady advances test the resilience of Ukrainian defenses. Despite these challenges, Kyiv remains focused on maintaining control over key regions and mitigating the effect of Russia's offensives.